going to be reading from one of the classics of Canadian literature, a classic poem, and I'll have him do the introductions for that.
The reason I said yes so quickly is he knows the stories. Wonderful to be here, to be asked to do this, and particularly touching for me because my dad's favorite poem was The Face on the Barroom Floor. And he would recite that to me whether I wanted to hear it or not. His second favorite was this one, The Cremation of Sam McGee, by the same author, Robert W. Service. I may just, as a preliminary, tell you how much I admire somebody who writes. Chris made the joke about what a tightly scripted show I've been doing over the years. My idea of a scripted show is saying to my operator, what day is it? And we go from there. Extemporaneous speaking is pretty darn easy as far as I'm concerned. Writing is difficult. There's a story about John Paddock, who used to coach the Jets here, and he was coaching, I think it was in Phoenix. Anyway, he got fired, all hockey coaches do. And at the press conference announcing his firing, he was asked, well, what are you going to do now? And he said, I'm going to go home and finish my book. And they said, oh, you're writing a book? He said, no, I'm reading one. There is a word before I get in here that I had never seen before, and I pride myself on my knowledge of the English language, foolishly so sometimes, but the word that is used twice in this poem is moil, M-O-I-L, and I didn't know it, but it means toil or slave. So when you hear that word, think slave. The Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert W. Service. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that'd make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lac La Barge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the south to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him in a spell. Though he'd often say, in his homely way, that he'd rather live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your coal through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes would close, then the lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snows, and the dogs were fed and the stars o'erhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me and, Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking you that you won't refuse my last request. Well, it seemed so how that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, it's the cursed cold. And it got right through till I'm chilled to the bone. We ain't been heard of its awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. Well, pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I wouldn't fail. And we started out on the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death. And I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of the promise I'd given. He was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate these last remains. A promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come, though my lips were dumb, in my heart how I cursed that load. In a long, long night, but a lone twilight, with the huskies round in a ring, howling out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, how I hated that thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow. But on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was running low. The trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but I swore I wouldn't give in. And then I sing to that terrible thing, and it hearkened with a grin, till I came to the marge of Lac La Barge, and a derelict there I saw. It was pinched in the ice, and I saw in a trice it was called the Alice May. And I looked at it and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then, here, said I, with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just roared, and the furnace gored, such a blaze you'd never seen. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in the inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I waited with grisly fear, but the stars came out, and they danced about again, so I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked. It's time I looked, and the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm, in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see a mile. And he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that'd make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was the night on the marge of Lac La Barge that I cremated Sam McGee. All the way through till the last word. Oh,
A little something for you.
something to drink here at the stage?
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I think we can